Deconverted Man here. The problem of evil is something that some theists seem to simply can't wrap their head around. Now, maybe it's due to cognitive dissonance, maybe it's due to any number of factors, I don't know. But at any rate, I've covered this before, and I'm sure I'll cover it again. And many others have, and probably better than I have or will. The dilemma is that if there's a thing that has all the abilities of that there are to have, and also cares about us, and then you would expect a certain result. We don't see that result. So if it's all good and it has all the power, then there is no evil. And if it's not all good, but it has all power, then there will be evil. If it's all good but it doesn't have all power, then there would be evil. If it's not all good and it doesn't have all power, then there would be evil. So the expected result's not present. You have to discard the notion of it being both. Or you have bad arguments. To wit, a bad argument. What's the rationality of blaming God for allowing people to have free will to do good or evil? It's like blaming the parents of a child that steals or murders or rapes. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, yes. Free will. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay. Um, so this guy is here. Do you have free will? This person has showed up and is holding a gun to your head, to your family is also there. Do you have free will in this moment to act? No, not really, because they're gonna shoot you or somebody you love or whatever. You don't want that because you don't want to get hurt or die. So you have no more ability in this situation. They have the power, they are in charge. So why is it the free will of the person with a gun matters more than the free will of the person that doesn't have a gun in this scenario? Well, I can't do anything because free will. I can't stop the guy with the gun. If I do that, I negate their free will. That's completely incoherent. Utterly incoherent because the other people's free will is being negated. And humans do this. If you see a guy with a gun, you do something to stop that guy with the gun. Because you care about those other humans. But what is really just sad is the justification here through analogy. It's like blaming the parents of a child that steals, murders, or rapes. Well, no, not exactly. Because actually, it's like the parents who know the child will do the rape and murder of the person. Knowing this, they watch as the kid packs a bag full of supplies. They have a landline phone and a cell phone. They watch the kid get a rope, shovel, knife, guns, bags, cleaner fluids. They stand by as the kid gets in the car and drives to the place where they know the murder is to take place. They follow them but do nothing at any point to stop the kid. They watch as the kid commits the rape and murder of the person, doing nothing as the kid does so. They watched as the kid buries the body and cleans up the mess. Those are some loving parents. Eh? See, that's the actual scenario here is God is here the loving parent who stands by and watches the kid do all this thing and does nothing at no point to stop any of it. Would we call the parents of a kid that watched as they did nothing loving? Or would we call them accomplices? They stood there and did nothing. They didn't help, but they also didn't do anything. They're not good people. The free will argument is bullshit. And it also does not and cannot account for the fact just people hurting people. Animals can hurt people. And animals hurt each other. And the animals also suffer. A deer gets caught in a hole and suffers and dies from thirst. The hole was just there by nature. There was nobody's free will involved. The deer didn't know the hole was there. But the suffering of the deer still occurs. Now, if a human saw that deer, the human might save the deer. In fact, sometimes other animals will try to save animals because we care, or we can care. We have the compassion. We have the ability to have compassion. And when we see something and we don't act, that's wrong. Then, of course, it does not account, cannot account for tsunami, flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, lava eruptions from volcanoes, and other natural disasters, earthquakes, whatever. Hail. Hail's been large enough to kill people. You're walking along, thwomp, you get hit with a thing of hail. Where was your free will then? You're just dead, or you're severely injured on your way to death, and you're suffering, calling out for help, and God sits there and does nothing because of free will? Please negate my free will to save me, if that's the thing. And of course, the God of the Bible doesn't care about free will. There's plenty of examples that God negates free will in the Bible if we're talking about that particular version of God. I linked to the original video, but this rant is more about this problem in general, because this is just one example of one person justifying the non-action of their particular deity. They need God to be both loving and all-powerful, and they need to justify that idea. But they can't, because when scrutinized, it unfolds to be rational. Your justifications become ridiculous and vile. Well, God's letting the bad thing happen for a greater good. Oh, the ends justify the means? God lacks imagination that it couldn't figure out a way around the evil to get to the good? It's going to use that evil to get to a greater good. Bullshit. Because we wouldn't do that. We would never do that. And all sorts of scenarios are presented. Well, but you might let your kid touch the oven when it's hot so that they understand that. Or you might find out a different way to teach them what heat is so that they don't do that. A more loving, compassionate way that doesn't involve them getting hurt. But then if you made the oven Maybe you could make the oven not be hot when the kid touches it. So it doesn't matter if the kid touches it or not. You could get rid of the problem. So it's not a problem. You could, in some other way, inform the kid of the danger. But if you made the system itself, you could make a system without danger. So the limited imagination of some theists prevents them from coming up with a way that an all-knowing being could figure out how to prevent suffering in this world. You don't make the world the way it is, then you don't have the suffering. There's no excuse. And of course, for the Christian, well, sin. Sin entered the world. Because of that, everything went to shit. Fuck you. Your God decided that that was going to be the way it was. Could have restarted the world. You only had, say, forget it. Okay, that messed up. Obviously, didn't go the way I wanted. Let's just restart everything. Until I get the result that I want where people don't mess up. Or make it that sin is impossible to enter the world. Well, there's no way that they could do that without having no free will. Yeah, no, then your God is limited in imagination and scope because I can think of ways to prevent that. Somebody goes to punch somebody else, and instead, when they hit them, they feel the impact of that punch, and they get hurt. Well, nobody will punch anybody then, because you're only hurting yourself. God either doesn't love us and or doesn't have the power, the ability to do anything about it. And or it doesn't exist. That's it. You have to choose one of those. You can't have an all-loving, all-powerful being. Maybe you could say God's incompetent. Perhaps that might be a way out. I don't know. But then that's not all-powerful, is it? So yeah, I was just a little bit irritated by this. Been on my mind a little bit. Obviously, you could see from the thing that I shared, this is a day ago, but I've been fuming about this because there was no response to my response. Yeah, that's fine. He's got things to do, Just one guy, I'm not necessarily picking on this one particular individual. We've had interactions before. All stupid being, yeah, maybe God is an all stupid being. Yeah, that there you go. That explains it. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, anyways, that's all I got for you. It's just a short one this time. If you haven't seen the video I did before this, go check that out because what I've been saying for years turned out to be true. God is a lobster. The other video proved that God's a lobster. None of you commented like one person commented. So go comment on that other video. Go ahead for Deconverted Man. Please. And then Gurmania. I see you. I have a challenge for you, Gurmania. After you listen to my video breakdown of the guy's video, or don't even do that if you don't want to. Just go to his original video and you make a video response explaining what he says. That's my challenge to Gurmania. Explain what this guy says in a video. I dare you. Let me know when you do that. All right. Bye, everybody.